Welcome to Stone Soup Poetry, everybody. I am your host, Chad Parento. For those of you who can't see the people waving on video, well, there's people waving on video. We have a lot of people on the phone tonight. Carol West, the legendary Carol Weston, Nancy Dodson, and Margaret, who is a dear friend of Jack's, especially for the last years of his life, a very positive force in Jack's life, and we're very glad to have her tonight. It's been a long time since she's been able to listen on the open mic. She might be the one who is giving us wind resistance before, so I'm going to keep her unmuted. And if she finds a closed enclave, closed space to read in, maybe she'll read later. But I think she's listening for now. And I want to thank her for joining us. I want to thank a lot of people who are joining us tonight. Felipe Victor Martinez, former organizer of the Cosmic Orange reading series at the late lamented Owl of the Blue at 106 Prospect Street in Cambridge. Also the founder of Cosmic Orange Press. Also a poet and performer and a one-time host of Stone Soup. There's a lot of people, other people who are here, most likely for the reason that I had announced yesterday morning. I had found out through the help of Ryan Rat Travis that John Parolee had passed away. Now, for those who don't know who John Parolee is, you might know him from the 80s, 90s, and early aughties era of Stone Soup. I had just missed him I didn't miss him. I had seen him perform at Stone Soup before, but by the time I hosted, I think he had already moved to Acton, Mass. We knew him better as the Buddha, the incorrectly spelled B-U-D-D-A-H. I think it's A-H, yes. I always have to squint and check, but that's an intentionally misspelled Buddhism, hopefully so no one kills him when he's on the road. So, all right, that's an old joke, but I'll shut up. But kill Buddha on a joke for a person who passed away. I'm an asshole. Anyway, but Buddha had his own style, and he was actually famously known as the first and I think only manager of the Fire of Prometheus back in the 80s, according to one-time member, founding member, and poetry historian Mick Cusimano. By the time I had met the man we call Buddha, he was the manager of the Barnum Buddha Poetry Circus. I had met him during the Cambridge Poetry Awards in 2003, and he and his troupe were up for a special award of, I guess, Best Poetry Troupe. I don't believe they won at that point, but I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look. But he stayed away for the most part, coming back for special occasions. If you go on my website or if you go on YouTube and look up Fire of Prometheus, you can actually see the final reunited show from 2009, and Buddha was present at that event. And I'm hoping that Mick Cusimano actually puts up the tribute poem that Bill Barnum had performed for Buddha during that show. And it's sad that Buddha passed away. It's sad when many of our members pass away. I always feel sad when I'm looking at the obituary, and it feels like for any of our number who will go down, for any poet who goes down, the obituary seems much too small, but that's what we're here for, and that's what this living document, this recording that will be going on YouTube in the morning is for. So I thank everyone for contributing, and if anyone wants to submit potentially something to Oddball for publication, or even just my website or the Stone Soup page at stonesoup.blogspot.com. The tributes came out en masse when Jack Powers died, of course, in 2010. I'm sure people will have poems tonight, and people might have other words to say. I've been the historian for Stone Soup, but I am not, by all means, the penultimate historian. I'm just, recording what I know for anyone who can share what they know. That helps Stone Soup grow and helps keep the community going. Helps keep me going. So with that in mind, thank you all for coming, for whatever motives brought you here tonight. And I'm just going to do the best thing I can ever do as a host, and the best thing I've ever done as a host, and that is shut the F up and let the other poets speak. So we're going to go to our penultimate first person on the open mic. She's usually here before even I am. Today was no exception to this. And just as a The first and final reminder, always check to see if you're unmuted before you start talking. Sometimes you might have to unmute yourself. That seems to be a weird fault of my setup here. Sometimes I can unmute a person and click, but you might have to do it. So double check before you start speaking. And with that, let us welcome all the way from New York, Patricia Kerrigan.
Thank you. One poem. This was just published in Blue Pepper. Having a party. Anna had a good time grooving to Sam Cooke on the radio. Time traveled back to when she, a teenager, teased her hair, wore pencil skirts, twisted to 45s, put popcorn on the Formica table, drank Cokes from the Frigidaire, chatted to friends about Johnny, the bad boy from Glenwood Road. Her American dream resided in expectation. The princess wedding gown, the white picket fence around a Flatbush Victorian, the family genes to be passed on. No matter how hard she tried, Johnny left her for Sally. Other men kept their distance, and early menopause called her instead. Her wedding dress burned, her unborn kids buried, her Victorian house sold to developers. For a lifetime of work, a meager Social Security check, EBT benefits, and a cramped one-bedroom apartment with her tabby, Jenny. A cracked mirror meant 7 more years of bad luck and further decline in her reflection. She lived in quarantine before it became mandatory, held on to her past in boxes, shopping bags, and 45s. The song ended and Anna felt dizzy. On her torn sofa, she thought about Johnny, Sally, and what transpired. With eyes still open, her head rested on the frayed throw pillow. Jenny tapped Anna's shoulder, sniffed under her nose and mouth, realized that she was not responding. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patricia. It's great we get to start with a party. And of course, as with most poets, when most poets get together, the party ends in disaster. What are you going to do? But that's not important right now. What's important is moving on to the next person. And let us welcome up next. Oh, there he is. Mr. John Wesseck.
Hi, thanks. Tomorrow is the 75th anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima, or even possibly today with the international dateline. So, I revisited this piece that I wrote about my visit 35 years ago, and so I'll just read that. It's called Hiroshima 40 Years After. I don't know what to expect as I follow the Enola Gay's path along the river. After departing the train in Hiroshima days before the nuclear physics conference, August heat sucks my shirt to my sweaty back. Guzzling bottles of green tea and following the tourist map, I navigate to the site of the bombing, passing shops, restaurants, and modern buildings along the way. Well-wishers have built statues and memorials, but I sense a hurt beneath the goodwill. Eventually, I arrive at the Hiroshima Carp Baseball Stadium across from the famous dome, Ground Zero. Circling the dome's skeletal steel frame, I snap pictures, click, wind, click. The peace bell's somber chime warns of some grim future, but children laugh and play while standing in line to swing the striking log at its bronze body. By the mountains of paper cranes left behind by the crowds at last week's anniversary, a man asks for a donation. I give him $20 and sign his list of donors. He wants to know what a physicist does. The main museum displays stopped watches, melted statues, and other curiosities. I enter a side building to view survivors' drawings. Most were not artists, so many pictures look as if grade school children made them. However, children do not draw corpses by the river, babies at the breasts of dead mothers or victims whose clothes and even skin were burned off by the nuclear flash. The 900 paper cranes a girl with radiation-induced leukemia folded before dying fill a jar. According to folklore, she would have earned a cure if she'd made it to 1,000, so visitors fold cranes in her honor. A screen depicts the bodhisattva of compassion on one panel and a mushroom cloud on the other, implying that compassion exists even in the midst of destruction, if only we can see. I linger, wondering if I can do something, offer some assistance. Nothing comes to mind. The admission-free theater at the animation festival shows commercials for Toyota, Honda, and Sony as if buying Japanese products could atone. My presence is futile. Fleeing the city, I escape to the station where crossing bells wail like air raid sirens. I board the train and return to the emotional safety of Osaka, where I will clamp my mouth shut when a bearded Los Alamos scientist raises his voice to expound that America must have the will to use nuclear weapons again to a group of shocked Japanese. Most attendees don't go to Hiroshima. The few who do never see the survivors' paintings. Still, it's not that simple. At Himeji, between Hiroshima and Osaka, I saw the White Crane Castle's secret rooms. If defeated, the defenders were to hide inside and then burst out in a suicidal attack to slaughter as many victors as possible. That mindset gave us Pearl Harbor and the rape of Nanking. So yes, I would have done anything to end the war once and for all if I had been Harry Truman. I just wish the world could be different somehow. The Enola Gay lays in pieces in the Washington Museum, while beside a shattered dome, someone contemplates knowledge's misuse and mourns the victims of humanity's folly. Much later, I wonder whether we can only find peace within our hearts. Can you hear the end of war?
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean. I do unmute a little bit so people can give their applause, their jazz fingers, wherever they feel fit to present. And speaking of presentation, it's always a big presentation when this guy comes on, and we love him for it. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome up Mr. Bill Lewis. Whoop. I muted you by accident, Bill. Sorry. There you go.
Okay, so what I wanted to talk about was wonderful, exciting things. It was so thrilling. Oh. Does that work better?
We hear you now.
So, as many of you know, I am teaching a high school class, and on Saturday, I'm going to start talking about difficult things. I mean, we've been talking theoretical stuff before, but I want to tell people how horrible we are to each other. That all of us human beings have done horrible things to other human beings. I mean, not us personally, but our ancestors, we've all. So, in 1974, Bill Lewis, a wonderful young graduate from Ripon College, enters the Peace Corps full of excitement, full of joy. And the country director says, "Where would you like to go? We have, let's see, right here in Nairobi, we have at least 3 schools who need math and physics, and out here in Nakuru, and there in Kisumu, and oh yes, and just there's also one way up there on the border. Ha ha ha! There's a new school opening up right on the border with Somalia and Ethiopia. So Where am I? There I am. I've lost myself. This is us. It's all desert. All you see is desert and desert and desert and more desert. And this is me. That is my high school. I taught wonderful students, wonderful things. We had a great time. Oh, it was glorious. And yes, we did all sorts of stupid things. I'm still the same stupid person you know, and I'm still excited. There was one time when we needed to do an experiment. I wanted some fur so I could rub a glass rod and show them how static electricity works, but who has fur in the desert? I asked the kids, and no, nobody has. And that evening, I hear yelling and screaming outside, and look out, and here are a pile of kids running and screaming through the desert. I have no idea what's going on, but an hour later, I hear a knock on the door, and there's my class with a cardboard box, and inside the cardboard box is a bunny, a rabbit. A very, very tired rabbit. My boys ran down a rabbit so we could have fur. And it worked. It did the static electricity thing, and put the hair, and it was wonderful. And these are glorious. I love them so much. And I was there, Kenya. We were building a new world. I cannot tell you how exciting it is to be part of building a world. People who care, uhuru, freedom, pamoja. We are working together. Harambe, all together. Yes, this is Kenyan. I love everybody. I love them so much. And I left. And 4 years later, some of my friends or people from their tribe who were in the army came up to a town next to my town, gathered up 3,000 people, and killed them. 3,000 of the people that I taught, that I lived with, that I knew, and they just killed them. They're their fellow Kenyans, but they were a different tribe. They spoke a different language, so they weren't really people. That's what I have to explain to my classes. That's what I have to explain to my classes. That is what we human beings do. But we can be better, we can be different. Our skin doesn't make any difference. Our religion is what we think and do that makes a difference. Can you care enough not to kill your neighbor? Can you care enough not to kill your neighbor?
Thank you, Bill. I'm going to mute all again and bring our next person on the open mic. This person coming up might be the only one who is featured in nearly every single location Stone Soup has ever been. The only sad exception being the brewer on the grid we went to for a very brief 3 to 6 months. But whenever I need a feature, this person does not disappoint. When I needed to liven up a church, because that's what we ended up with for a year, this person was there to do the work. And I appreciate him very greatly for this. And I'm glad he's here to speak on recent events, on recent poet-related events. Let's bring up Mr. Ryan Rat Travis.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Interesting day. So those of you who never experienced Buddha, he's a wonderful, crazy, insane dude. I found out today that his name was given to him by Janis Joplin, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. So funny enough, so I didn't have this. This is Buddha's chapbook, Madman on the Merrimack. And I bought it online, and there's a nice picture of Buddha on the back. And I looked, and it's autographed. And it says, thanks, without you, this book wouldn't even have been written. and it was to Peddler Bridges. So if you guys know Peddler, this is Peddler's copy of the book. It makes it even more special. All right, I'm gonna read a couple of poems from Buddha, and then one that I wrote. This is my favorite poem that Buddha wrote, and you'll see why really soon. Rats, rats, crawling through the garbage, strolling down the alleys. Rats, rats, climbing up the stairscape, trying to get your baby. Rats, rats, running down the side streets, hiding from your summer heat. Rats, rats, sleeping in the houses, scampering in the darkness. Rats, rats, stealing from the grocer, eating up the profits. Rats, rats, driving in their old cars, looking for a quick fix. Rats, rats, beating up the old hag, trying to score a dime bag. Rats, rats, stealing from their brothers, sisters, and their mothers. Rats, rats, driving in patrol cars, looking for a scapegoat. Rats, rats, beating on the long hairs, shooting at the children. Rats, rats, looking at the state house, working at the state house, cutting off the welfare. Rats, rats, talking to the newsmen, hogging all the airtime. Rats, rats, promising their promises, pocketing their money. Rats, rats, every city has them. Boston is no different. Rats, rats, eek! And as you can see why I love that poem. I remember PBS did a special, I think, on Stone Soup or something a million years ago, or Poetry in Boston, and Buddha was one of the guys, and for a long time he was like a promo for PBS or little things, and I remember going, rats, rats, and I was like, who's this crazy man? And I found him eventually. All right, here's another one. I love this poem too. It's really, really cool, and it's so Buddha. It's called the Javafarian Prayer for the Renaissance Coffee House in Nashua on the Merrimack. Ra arrives with the dawn, a fiery jump start to the morn, fire and heat that ignites the sky and burns the sleep out of your eyes. Beloved goddess, bring me away to face the morning of this day. Hail, Kafina, goddess indeed, grant us a cup of your legal speed. Wake me, shake me, never forsake me. Hail, Kafina, defeater of Nod. Pray for this worker now until quitting time. Amen. Thank you. All right. This is my last one I'll do for tonight. I wrote this for Buddha, and it's called The Great Coffee House in the Sky. What can you say about the Buddha? Sir Reverend Colonel John Paul Parolee, Damon Magnus, the Buddha. Larger than life, my very own Hagrid, born of the bloodline of Jesus, Knight Templar, friend and confidant to Jan Kerouac, founder of the Sword and Shield, member of the Fire of Prometheus, former wielder of black arts and once member of the OTO, beat poet, doctor of metaphysics, self-professed tidewater shit shoveler, mentor, friend, father of Johnny. What else can I tell the world about you? Should they tell them about the time you said, I'll burn your ass, and I wound up in the hospital with severe hemorrhoids a week later? That's the last time you crossed a Sicilian who knows magic. Should I tell them about the time you performed a Jupiter money ritual with a house full of 50 plus people drinking amaretto and burning ambergris, and the next day I found $40 during a poetry reading at Walden where my mother's ashes were scattered? Should I tell them about the time you handed me a phone receiver with the crowd going wild during my poetry reading on tour in Kentucky? And I answered the phone to find out it was the owner, who kicked me off stage by long distance telephone with 4 lines left of my poem, and how pissed Are You Out of It was because he was the king of getting kicked out of stage. Lesson learned, never tell Rat he can do anything he wants. Should they tell them when you were trying to wean Johnny off of his pacifier and you turned our song No Penguins into No Binkies and made us sing it every time Johnny was around? No Binkies, no Binkies, no Binkies were around. We had such great adventures while on tour with the Barnum and Brutus Circus. You surrounded yourself with artists of all kinds, a true bohemian. We met at T.T. the Bear's at Stone Soup Poetry, but really got to know each other at Squawk Coffee House, where many of the Fire of Prometheus made a home. The Rebel Cafe. All hail to the Rebel Cafe. Forever the Beat, The Outsider. I loved you, brother. The life gets in the way, and the years fly by. We hadn't talked in forever. You had retired from touring, confined at home. I was hoping to see you at Billy's memorial, but it wasn't in the stars. I missed you then. I miss you now. Gone forever. But your next great adventure begins. Heaven won't know what hit him when the Buddha hits the scene in the great coffee house in the sky. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right.
Here comes the cops, Rat. I hear the sirens. They're going to be calling you off again. All right. Well, thank you very much, Rat. I'm going to, whoops. And I should also note that not only can you find, various chapbooks from Buddha, if you're lucky and you go on Amazon on a certain day, you can get the Out of the Blue Writers Unite, which is a hefty anthology that was put together with the help of primarily Deb Priestley, Tim Gager, and I believe Lynn Stickler was also instrumental in getting that together. I know I have not, my copy has been in a garage for a while in storage, but I do know that Buddha had, and as well as many, many other poets have had work published there. So he's hard to find, but he can be there. Maybe it's a good idea to get his stuff out there again. We shall see. But for now, thank you very much, Rat, and we'll go on to the next person on the open mic. And who do I have next? Mr. Ethan Meckler.
All right. Can you hear me? Yes? All right. And can you hear this? All right. I was going to read. I was just trying to figure out what to read. So I dug up something by Chad. This is called Before Bed, and I hope Chad is cool with me doing this. You're smiling, so all right. Hang your troubles on the line so they'll be dry to wear tomorrow. Bad feelings beget proof, all that is bad, till even clothes smell of doomsday. The rabbit pajamas grandmother made hide nothing you want to hide. Your feet all stigmata in the footies. Infinity never seemed so small. An Atlas daunting load condensed to a blue jay asleep in a bread box or a fiery coal. Planet heavy, held like a toddler, carrying dad's beer while he starts a Sisyphus stride. Burden hidden deep in fourth dimensional pocket, tucked away like feelings toward mom. Better stored with unwanted dreams, crocodile jaw arms of abusive friends, least favorite class, more tests to flunk, a stage for a dance never rehearsed. The audience welcomes you as Lord.
You flatter me once again, Ethan. Thank you very much. And we're going to move to the next person on the open mic, and I'm very excited to have her. As we've mentioned several times before we started recording, the Boston Poetry Marathon is going to be this weekend. It features a lot of luminary poets from the Boston and even New York areas, because a lot of the people who went to Boston, Suffolk University, and elsewhere went eventually either home to New York or went out to New York to seek their own fortunes, or they went to the suburbs. So basically they created a poetry event where all their friends could get together every year, and that eventually became the Boston Poetry Marathon after many names. And one of the dignitaries that is always on the schedule, always asked to read, always brings the house down, and I have the video to prove it, is this person who will be reading with my help tomorrow night, Friday night. Everyone gets 5 minutes at the Boston Poetry Marathon. For those who are interested, I'll be posting the links later on the Stone Soup website. And they'll be live streaming via YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and many other outlets. So whatever your connection is, you shouldn't have a problem getting on to see at least a good number of poets. And on Saturday itself, I'll be starting off a round of 10 hours of poetry. So there'll be 10 hours worth of poets going on. At least one or two of them you haven't seen before, but you should definitely tune in on Friday. I believe at 7:45. That's going to be when this person comes on. So here's a little sneak preview of actually something you as fortunate listeners get to hear all the time. Let's welcome up Carol Weston.
So, it's strange to live inside an aging mortal's skin. I am arthritic. Come over here and listen to my bones. This pile of exultant consciousness has turned to poison on the floor. I have nowhere to step. I gnaw on wood and spit. When winter comes, I bite the ice. That's it.
There we go.
Carol, thank
Yay,
you.
Carol. Yay,
Thank you, Carol.
Carol.
I hope whatever you do, Carol, you take full advantage of the 5 minutes on Friday, because we're gonna want more. We're gonna be going Carol.
Carol.
Exactly. Exactly. Some of us you might hear, some of us you might not, but we'll be doing that. So I'll mute all again. For everyone who's coming on late, thank you. I've been noting who has said in the chat that they want to read. I'm assuming everyone else is waiting to read, such as Mary Jennings, Bill, Jane Spoken Word I saw. Tina Lee, I'm assuming, is waiting to read. I've been putting you guys down as you come in. And we'll just keep on going. And I'm going to introduce next. He has a new book coming out. We ought to do something about that. But first, let's hear him now, a little excerpt from the book or whatever he has handy, Mr. Peter Crowley.
Can you guys hear me?
Perfectly.
All right, cool. So yeah, this is from the new book, Those Who Hold Up the Earth. It's called Time's Recurrence and Vanishing. An effervescence epoxy sits on tawdry shelves in void environs of absence. With a click of the hills, fairies emerge from Yeats's brain, dwelling in Northwest Ireland's coastal myths. Neath skies that turn from sun-gazing fields of sheep meadow to abrupt maelstrom rains that soon again yield azure. The fairies perform a Kelly dance around the sleeper's head. The sleeper, head resting on recurrent pillow, dreams of imbibing liquid coal from a tornado-shaped funnel. Meanwhile, the dead, in their closed-eye, deep soil stare, provide feed for beetles and maggots, while their hydroxy-appetite dust fuels soil fecundity. The amorphous fairies leap from hillside to hillside, yielding farrow in the dead's moon-shadowed wake. In turn, farrow is raised by keepers of the land, the agriculturalists, who rear them to a ripe age until they are slaughtered and eaten. The night following the feast, farmers sit up all night with family and friends, recounting stories of Sea-Dip's past, where Coleridge's albatross lingers still, burdened by the weight of time, not released until narrative memory fades into the dark and empty evening of the passing waves of generations.
Boom. Thank you so much. Oh. And we're going to mute all again. I'm going to introduce our next reader by way of promotion. There's a lot of people are doing a lot of things. One of the benefits of, if you can call it that, I should say one of the necessities of the pandemic is that people are producing a lot more work, because otherwise we're going to go absolutely knuckin' futs. This person is has a couple of things to announce. He is a creator of the podcast Assiduous Dust. He has a new episode coming out featuring former executive director of Beyond Baroque in the West Coast and Nelson Gary. And this will be available Friday if all goes well. He also wants to let people know that Spectrum Publishing is open to submissions, and the deadline is this Sunday. I think I've heard of Spectrum through your post, actually, Joshua. So if you want to elaborate further, I'll let you do that. But for now, Mr. Joshua Corwin.
Yeah, thanks, Chad. Absolutely. There's actually, I just put some information, I think, to you about that. You can get that to the necessary people for the Spectrum thing. It's a really great stuff.
I see it,
great,
yes.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm going to read actually a piece that was in the last issue for Spectrum. And this is called Sex on the Beach. Before I do that, I just want to say, so the former executive director of Beyond Baroque, his name is, so it's Richard Modiano, and then the other individual is Nelson Gary, who has a book coming out with Rose of Sharon Press next year. Yeah. This is Sex on the Beach. But I know it when I see it, and the poem involved in this case is that. That's United States Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart, altered. Rain reveals mystery in summertime, where all of life's answers drop into the graphite sun, a shape-shifting amalgam that is the bedrock of all knowledge. Walking on Western Sea, Walla religions, I am a bummer, digging myself through the summer into the wild oxygen night sky. Your nearing shine pierces, penetrates my own rays awry, and sun-dried tomato lips send me from email void into whimpering amongst an angel that heat inside your ever closer city feathers a grim psycho soldier who bolts from his own catastrophizing radio signals which suffocate serenity's sunlight shelter from releasing a smile from crushed lips. I duplicate myself positively as I drive this commando storefront skin with a tight grip as my hands wield the wisdom beyond our world, a closed time-like curve, nice the declaration which bolted against the acid-free vacant winds hot prophet breath, correlating equations of light with the transcendental representations of glittery peace, where all modest sparks cross themselves against the great divide. I object to the missing beaches on these bearded lats, where eyes turn from their own concealment, confront society's insane asylum island, forcing our consciousness to burn our bodies away from the world, as four youthful hands straddle the beach at night alone, yet interlocked with all things once thinned out by confined space, yet which could not release me on the run from the source of energy, enshrining a blisteringly a blistering calm, the solar Sinai with a handful of arrows which had once smote their arrows, and quivered as our commune bodies dulled the polarity, politics, electromagnetic cruelty, replacing equations for the real thing, relieving politicians from their duties with our sighs. We straddled blanket treaties, killing clothes, and waiting for pride in all inanimate clicks from Jungle Gym iPhones, pouring lava souls away from pale-hearted sunscreen, blinding us against gaseous clouds, the fog descending with the oldest passions, way back when nocturnal vows slashed my tires and crashed my car into stars and outshined their own existence. Gaze into our flashlight punk peepholes between our nostrils, vibrating insect cocaine mallets, war drum dramas, maternal martyr mystery of man, delicious belongings. Your body is especially splendid, a sacred temple with sexual incredulity bobbing with beatbox booming dead by the barrage of mirages and fire dancing along the jagged edged shore. Thanks.
Well. Dang. So that's Spectrum Magazine, and that's the kind of work. That's the kind of work they like. Good luck, everyone. I'm screwed. No, anyway, I'll be putting the submission information later for everybody on the Stone Soup webpage.
They take a plethora of types. It's many different types of styles. Hence Spectrum.
I know. I'm just messing around, but that was great. Thank you so much, Joshua. And now, let's see who is next. Yes, another one of our phone friends is here. Let's welcome up next, Nancy Dodson.
Fierce tornado in a tropical storm. The wind lashed a dismantled house. Like a torrent rain lashing through the lifting ears of corn crops, dumping the corn plants into a barn forcibly torn apart by the grasping wind. It started to rain with speed, throwing the yellow-green plants against the lopsided barn. Lettuce plants were filthy with dirt. The earth was dug up in fertilizer piles, useless to pick up in order to strengthen the plants. The ruined crops overwhelmed the farmer. His crops should fail every time there occurred a hurricane or tropical storm. His eyes were crying against the wind. God, why are you doing this type of failure to me again and again? The wind threw him against the damaged barn and he fell.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon. I hope. Hopefully soon. We're going to go to, whoops. Let me just fix this. There we are. Bam. And now we'll go to the next person I have listed on the open mic. And that would be our one of our most recent features, since Stone Soup has become absorbed into the ether of the net. Doesn't even make any sense. God, that sounds dumb. Okay, sorry. Don't want to make my dumb prose part of your intro. Let's just say we love that he's here every week he can, even on the road, and hopefully his wife will read someday. Let's welcome up Eric Tate.
Hey, Chad, how are you?
Doing good.
Hi, Chad.
Hey.
It's great to see everybody here. It's old faces, Rat, and Victor. I haven't seen you guys in so long. But I was really sad to hear about Buddha's passing. This first one This one I'll read. Democracy gives way to despotism, even as life goes on as before in my little corner of the world, Burlington, North Carolina, where Cavaliers and Bulldogs crosstown rival high schools still scrimmage, and Carousel Cinemas is showing A Quiet Place too. But the real show is in Portland, where paramilitary and camouflage emerge from unmarked vans to abduct citizens from sidewalks. While here in Burlington, families still have picnics in the park. It's still possible to enjoy a Zax's hot dog. Trump says he plans to occupy other cities as well, Chicago next. Last night, the mayor of Portland was tear gassed. Restraining orders declaring journalists off limits were violated, and medics were beaten and arrested by federal agents who answer only to Trump. Still, the sun comes up as usual here. For now, I can still drive my car where I want, shop at Food Lion, and buy a half-gallon of almond milk for $2.50. Maybe I'll be safe here. Presidential reach won't extend this far. I won't have to worry about Gestapos trampling my tomatoes. After all, CNN says the White House has agreed to pull its troops from Portland. And for an instant, I wonder whether the left's characterization of occupation is unnecessarily excessive. Then, in a follow-up segment, the director of Homeland Security says his foot soldiers are staying put. They won't be going anywhere just yet. Thank you. Chris said she wanted to read also.
Oh, Chris.
Thank you, Eric. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
I'll put you down, Chris.
I think she's doing later.
Oh, later. Oh,
I think so.
Just we'll get you. We'll get you towards the end. There's not too many. There's a couple people left, but we'll definitely get you. I'm excited.
Nice job, Eric.
Thank you.
And I'm going to mute all again. And the next person, it's a land of 1,000 Erics, or in this case, 2 of them. But I'm glad they're both here. And the next person coming up is also one of our stalwarts on the open mic live these past few years, these past 10 to 15 years. Always great to have him here. Let's welcome up Mr. Eric Nelson.
Okay, you might have noticed that I was like rummaging around my room and momentarily on and off camera. And that's because I was looking for stuff. I hadn't trying to find something to read from my old collection. Finally found something, and it's a short one. It's called For All the Clutter in My Room. Too much stuff that may serve a purpose someday. It's my responsibility to see to it that someday comes before I throw away my stuff. Thanks very much.
Hey.
Nice.
Oh, I relate to that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my. Well, thank you guys. Thank you very much for reading, Eric. Jamelia Van Dyke Bailey has been secretly, not secretly, but she's been silently listening. She has to go. So goodbye to you, Jamelia. Hopefully we'll have you read next time. Again, just a reminder to her, next week, if she's still on, next week we have Melissa Castillo-Planez, who was the one who was our first feature at our old location, was supposed to be our brand new chapter at the Brew on the Grid in Cambridge. Probably the best place we ever had a reading at, because we had the backing of the manager. We had a team of baristas giving everyone their need. We didn't even have to pay anything. And we still had donations. We were able to tip off the baristas. It was so great. but unfortunately it was not meant to be. And the place closed about less than 3 months afterwards. But Melissa was an amazing feature for that day, for that first time. And she also, when we lost our place, was trying to find other places for us to have Stone Soup's home. And she was a professor at the Harvard at the time. So we did some collaborations there. Now she's doing a move to Brooklyn as we speak. She's in the middle of it. And by next Wednesday, she'll be all settled, and she can't wait to do the feature, and I can't wait to hear her. She's got new books published, and that'll be the time to get your Venmo accounts or just to go on Amazon or wherever she would prefer you to buy the book independently. I have my book out on Amazon because I'm a whore, but I wanted something with on a mainstream site for once. But Melissa has a lot of other sites that probably better serve Latinx Americans. So I want to emphasize that next week. But for now, it's just a night of happy open mic. I'm glad we're still getting people here. This is exciting. So I'm just going to keep it moving now to one of our later arrivals. She was having issues with the Zoom, don't we all? And I think she's still here. Mary Jennings, are you here? I think she bopped out for a second. So hopefully she'll be back on again later. So let's see. There was a Tina Lee. Tina, are you available to read? Are you looking to read, or are you just listening?
Hi. I thought maybe I would just listen, but then, I don't know, while I was over there folding laundry, I said, why not?
Well, welcome. And we can't wait to hear what you have.
Okay, this is my first time. Actually, I found the link on Facebook a few minutes ago. And it turned up, okay. I want to be a little old woman. When I was young, old people would inquire, what do you want to be when you are grown? My answer drew surprise. Some called me liar. My strongest wish adults did not condone. A woman I was born and am one still. The proof? Here, feel my hands. They're always cold. To stay petite, I exercise strong will, then wait. Yes, only time will make you old. A woman more than half a century, I struggle still with lust for fattening food. The patience was the hardest thing for me, till now my very blood's with it imbued. But look, success. And just as I foretold, it's taken me a lifetime to grow old.
Very nice. Thank you.
I like that last line. Love that.
Glad you found us.
Great voice, man.
Oh, I wish I said it is sonnet, but that hopefully was noticeable.
Tina, I hope you find out about the Stone Soup Facebook group. It's Stone Soup Poetry. And if you want to join, we had a break last week unexpectedly, but we'll be having more gatherings online for the foreseeable future. So if you want to join, you'll get quicker updates.
Okay, Stone Soup
Poetry, yep.
Poetry on Facebook. I will look now. I'll listen while I fold laundry.
Thank you very much. And welcome. And thank you for coming. Let's move to the next person on the open mic. And he stepped out, but he is back again. And he actually found us randomly online as well, which is amazing to have. I guess that's the one gratification you get from doing these on Zoom, because a lot of us a lot of people hear about us online, but a lot of people can't get to us all the way to Boston. And it's even hard to get to the Seaport area when you live in Boston. But thankfully, since this has started, which makes me think I'm going to be doing online readings even after we all get back together again. We have this person coming here on the open mic, and he is, we'll definitely do we've got to be working more with him later. That's all I'll say for now. For now, let's welcome up Phil Curtis on Facebook. Phil, aka Midnight, to the rest of us and his friends. Phil?
I'm 2 hours behind, so that's why I'm always late. I'm sorry.
Nope, no worries.
I'll do 3 haikus, then a poem. Critical parent. Child will always love you, but no longer loves self. Movies have sequels. Ours will be just a short film. We will just be friends. Do without thinking. Child pushes nothing on plate. We toss leftovers. And let me do a poem. Let's see. Lady, all I want, need, and desire is 5 good minutes. You see, this morning when we went our separate ways, we parted without a goodbye kiss. No telephone call throughout the day, not even a text message with a well wish. Could it be that our daily routine is getting the best of us, slowly slipping away from what we want, need, desire, and what I even prayed for? Because I recall being on bended knee petitioning, "Dear Lord, please allow me to let this woman into my heart without reservations." Because unlike relationships in my past, she is not the brunt of my frustration. Not one of the women that did me wrong, lying to my very face, or leaving me for another man, marrying again quicker than the ink could dry. But through our trials, tribulations, ups and downs, and frustrations, you're right there for me. Beautiful woman, you are my queen. Like a taste of a sweet strawberry, you have become my natural aphrodisiac, having sexed my mind before the thought of sex in my body. With you, I mean without you, I'd be lost in a whirlwind full of frustration, fumbling without direction. But lately, sometimes we're in the same room and there's no dialogue. It's just a stare, a body language asking, "What are you doing here?" Then again, it could be me, finally having a good woman by my side and thinking that the grass might be greener on the other. So please, give me 5 good minutes. 5 quality, not quantity minutes. Because each week I sit in front of the TV watching the last 5 minutes of the game as 35 minutes passes by, ignoring you and my chores at the same time, acting like the kids running back and forth aren't even mine. So here's my plan. On Monday, I want to know how your day was. Not only here, but listen to what's going on at work, not making you do the things you normally do. And I can't expect everything to be done by you. So maybe one day I get home early from work, I could start to prepare dinner, enjoy you a glass of wine, a bath, and music playing in the background. You know, there will be times I will make you laugh. There will also be times I will make you cry. But I will continue to try. Because like Michael Jackson said back in the day, I ain't never going to say goodbye. So on Friday, let's recreate our very first date. Come back home for some family time because our children need 5 good minutes too. You see, 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 easily multiplies. So my dear, before we get distracted from what we got going between us, please, please give me 5 good minutes.
Very nice. Very nice.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Nice job. I love a good
Thank
haiku.
you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Very thank you.
Thank you, Phil. And I'm going to mute everyone very quickly because there's someone who we missed the last time I had called her, so I do not want to miss out on her reading now. So let's bring up, you may have to unmute yourself, Mary. There you go. Let's bring up Miss Mary Jennings.
Thank you. Trying to open up my poem here. So let's see, here we go. Here it comes. The Ride. It's coming around again. The cycle of anger, punishment, and reprieve, passed off as a lesson in gratitude, will only drain you, not sustain you. The gifts they gave you, you already paid for. Where is the worth in that? Where is the devotion they proclaim for you at the last minute? They steal your thunder, by causing stormy weather in your heart and mind. Then, surprise, they provide unwavering support at your moment in the sun. They know what's in it for them. After making you go it alone, go without. They will forgive you this time, then do it again to remind you who knows you and loves you best. You have better things to do than to tend to their petty grievances at the expense of those who deserve your best. Time to break the cycle. Time to get off this ride. Time to stop being the ride. You can go without their devotion and unwavering support to the bitter, glorious end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have a couple more people, two more additions. I'm very happy everyone has been able to read. I'm happy people are just here to listen. That makes me feel good as well. And someone who I am counting on to read, we know her as ES, and I'm hoping she's able to turn on her video just at the last minute like she always does and bring the house down like she always does. ES, are you ready?
I have a poem. Video, not so sure.
Okay.
Let me try. Yes, I can. There. Okay. Now the poem's gone. 1 second. Okay. Noxious Harbor. We sailed the sea made of stone into a harbor whose sandbars feel more and more like iron. Caged contents and liquid unstable may explode. Salt tablets under our tongues keep us witty enough. We should have never tried to go to the uncertain tropics, or assume that we, not the ships, would burn. But slow knowledge means nothing in unstormed heat. To realize that the anchor feels more like a femur now, morphing into something new, we sit like fetuses, wondering at involuntary gestation, demanding our own recreation when everything is so still. To prevent a stillbirth, I fear we must start kicking. The rest of the world is a spinning mosh pit, but for us, all punches thrown are circular. It's hard to see through these blackened eyes that we've given ourselves. You woke up last night crying because of something gone. I rolled over and failed to comfort you. Just another trapped cell in this abscess. Unsure how to be infection or cure or beautiful even darkly, until something breaks open or heals.
I told you. Thank you so much, ES. Glad you could join us.
Thank you.
And on the other subject of other people joining us, this is great. Let's, we have you down, Chris, if you are ready. So you might have to unmute yourself, but you're ready to go. And Chris, the loyal wife of Eric Tate, who's been with us, I think, every single time, whether she's in the background or just lurking behind his shoulders. It's hey, they don't. No insult intended. The best wives are lurkers, but but it's great to have her join us as well, along with Eric, and it's great to have her read with us now whenever she does.
Right. This is called Unexpected Places. Keep looking where the light pours in. I know your eyes are tired and your body's tired, and the world seems to move so fast without you. But I promise you, there is still time to see the morning sun pour in through the rain. There is still time to find peace and beauty in the most unexpected places.
Thank you again, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
And now, someone who I hope is also joining us, she had an amazing poem published in Oddball a couple of Mondays back. We're still accepting work on the subject of Black Lives Matter. We haven't got as many submissions as we've had for the COVID works, which is a little upsetting, but I have a feeling as as the days to voting day start closing from the 90s to the 80s and to the 70s and so on, we might be getting a lot more of that. So, but if you have any work you might want to submit, just let us know. But Tisnia, she had a amazing poem that was actually published with her alongside her cousin, and is my fervent hope that she's going to read something new for us tonight.
Hello there.
Hey.
I literally just walked in the house like 12 minutes ago from a doctor's appointment, so I'm kind of all over the place. So my video isn't on, but I'll read the piece from a few Mondays ago.
That's great.
Thank you for publishing it.
Well, thanks for writing it.
Blood held tight in a roach clip. For Lloyd Ashley Pinchback. Ghosts cannot slip back inside the body's drum. Yusuf Komanyaka. Tall tales of these brothers score my youth. Nimble escapes from trouble, outpacing a twister with a slick pigeon-toed two-step. The dirt road and loaf of soda bread, or was it a blue tint milk bottle, the only things sacrificed to its funnel. Fortuitous stumbles into magic, an ear so tuned to pitch, a note fingered on flute, mimics the tremolo of a loon, the eye one breath from blindness fails to catch. You should know I am song of pinchback men. You should know I speak your name, a ripe plum in my mouth. Black with scant rice paper thin and alabaster. Your teeth cut on the hills of Jim Crow, licked by the fire of Black resistance. It's all in your music. The rapid fire staccato, bellyache scat of it. Clapback gobbledygook wah wah and mumbo jumbo of it. The hum and the moan of it. The string, the reed, the bell. The play and break of it. The giggle, snatch, and croon. Curse, relent, and release of it. The flush of reefer, scald of hot water cornbread, bow-legged men and wide-hipped women of it. Matted afros, back fat, and lips turned hot like sun of it. Give me 5 on the black-hand side, hoof prints from the horseman's steed turned loose its goddamned metronome, foot stamping into the flame, once more and again, always in time of it, always in time. You should know I am song of pinchback men. You should know I speak your name, a blossom on my tongue, because beauty is danger, is art is danger, is love is danger, is witness, way through towards the roar of the cymbals, hiss, hiss, hiss. Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah, thank you. That was very nice.
Thank you, everyone.
So glad you're here with us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And we're going to go to the, I think the second to last person on the open mic. I've actually been the second to last in the door. I'm glad you made it. Let's welcome up Mr. Edward S. Galt, Gentleman Galt.
Thank you very much. I'm going to just switch into portrait mode here and read a poem here. Let's see. It's called Walking. We're walking. Everything is going wrong. So alone. So isolated. Nobody to turn to. Some of it was your fault. You've done everything you could. Some of it too late. But with the information you had at the time, there is all this energy. You walk it off just to be doing something. You walk the labyrinth, then come home and walk around the house. You would meditate, but can't quiet your mind. Can't even read. Can't concentrate. Need to be doing something. All that energy. Another walk. This time around the block. All the stress. Eating away your space. Eating away your peace. People tell you that it will make you stronger. You don't want to be stronger. You want their help. You want peace. You want love. You want it to be the way it was before. You want all this just to be over. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you very much, Ed.
Yes.
Thank you, Ed.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ed.
Sideiest of side notes, the Ed Galtz is also responsible for the wonderful photography on the cover of my latest book,
Awesome.
and is also a regular contributor to Oddball Magazine, as I hope all of you become eventually. Oddballmagazine.com. We're always accepting work. We have so much work, actually. I think we might have enough work to last us until, maybe not enough COVID poetry, because there's a little bit of a lull, but I think we have enough poetry to last us until just about the end of the year. But we're always looking for onward and upward, for especially for 2021, no matter what happens. So I hope you consider submitting. Again, oddballmagazine.com. Would love to have you. And close us out tonight is our penultimate closer, our regular closer, I should say. He's also the regular columnist for Oddball. His poem column, It's All One Thing, is featured every Thursday morning at 11 o'clock at oddballmagazine.com without fail. He's been doing this for about 6 years now, and it's probably only barely representative of like the entire body of work for his entire life. Ask him about his drawings. Ask him about his Labyrinth series, which is done, which is drawn in chalk. His labyrinths, on whatever theme he so chooses, are drawn pretty regularly, without fail. Again, on the near the Boston Common, near public speaking area, where he is also at many a weekend. Person's a very busy guy. I'm glad he has his time to. He makes time to still be part of this. Let's welcome up Mr. James Van Looy.
Thanks, Chad.
Yeah.
So I wanted to mention that I have a notation of Bill Barnum's narration of how Buddha got his name from Janis Joplin. So I'll have to try to dig that out and find it and send that in.
Oh God, please, yes.
So anyway, I wanted to read here. This is a poem I wrote for the May Day 2020, which is Stone Soup's anniversary. Jack, who was my Jack of Hearts, always wanted his central creation, Stone Soup, to have its birthday on May 1st, International Workers' Day, May Day of the Maypole Dance, like the Marymount Wild Ones down in Quincy, Mass. But most, it was the holiday of the Haymarket Martyrs, the strike with a 40-hour week, 8 hours of work, 8 hours of leisure, 8 hours of rest, the great demand of the late 19th century that had to wait until the next great crisis, when the movement finally broke open the ruling class consensus, just like we've had this thing called the Washington Consensus, 45 years of ruling class war. The Reagan era finally come home to roost in Agent Orange head form, like toxic herbicide, or as they said in Vietnam, only you can end force. Seems all too real now. The Amazon blanches, cringes in Bolsonaro gaze of neo-colonial war on indigenous. But Stone Soup was a egalitarian vision, sustenance for all, from all, to all, this aspirational arrangement everyone puts in, everyone takes out, the way a small boy in Roxbury came home to find himself evicted and made the whole city a home in a long litany of annual events, a whole new way of living time. It's somehow like international, May Day, the World Day, a maypole, ribbons, wreathing, a high phallic pole so virgin, the acolytes coming forth, yet going on and on, generation creates silent, boomer, XYZ, millennial, and still the old Stone Soup bubbles in Jack, always, always loved May Day. And let me sing a quick little song, an old one. Picture you upon my knee, just me for you and you for me. We will be two of us together. We will have a family, a boy for you, a girl for me. Can't you see how happy we will be? Can't you see how happy we will be? Bum, 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 bum.
It stopped working.
Thank you, James.
Thank you.
And with that, I'm going to try and put everything announced. Phil, aka Midnight, put out all his information for Instagram and such. I'm going to try and post that between today and tomorrow. There's information to submit to Spectrum, courtesy of Joshua, which I'll also try and put down as well. The submission deadline is Sunday. And I might even put together a couple of submission deadlines. There's a place such as Kissing Dynamite Poetry, which only takes one submission per person. And it's you never know what they want, but I haven't gotten accepted yet, but they do a very selected amount, but it's a pretty exciting selection. And of course, Oddball is ongoing. I may resurrect Stone Soup in the next, the Stone Soup's Stone's Throw zine in the next couple of weeks. We'll see what happens. But for now, we have a lot on our plates to consider. And I hope you do consider going to the Boston Poetry Marathon this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's a 3-day event. It's taking place via Zoom, but the participants who are reading are going on the Zoom call. The rest of us will be able to stream, to see the live stream via Facebook, via YouTube, and a number of other places. So I hope you are a part of that. And if you join the Stone Soup Poetry Facebook group, or if you're already a part of it, I highly recommend that you stay tuned, as I'll be posting all that information as well. And of course, next week is Melissa Castillo-Planez, and hopefully many more people will be announced in the coming days, now that I've got a little bit more of my act together. I appreciate all of your patience in regards to that. And I hope you all enjoy your evening and the rest of this week, which promises to be chock full of poetry. If you just let it happen, it can be like this every week, people, no matter what our format. All we need is you. And rest in peace, Mr. Buddha. And we'll have more about that as well. Let's all do the obligatory video wave now. So we have a picture for my post in Facebook in the morning. Keep it. Come on, keep waving. Come on, Eric, wave. There we go.
Loud wave.
I'm like Buffalo Bill and Silence of the Lamb. Wave to the people. Okay. Thank you all very much, and have yourself a very good evening. As I like to say, the show's over. See you next time.
Nice to see some old faces and meet new friends, man.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
God's willing and the creeks don't rise.
Bye, everybody.
See you in the bye.
Bye, Carol. Hi, Mary.
Bye-bye.
Thanks